You know, sometimes the biggest life lessons don't come from some thick philosophy book. Sometimes they come from just a handful of words brushed onto a page 1,000 years ago. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to travel back to ancient Korea to unpack a tiny 20-character poem about a quiet shore, a cold moon, and a single faithful bird. And believe it or not, what we find there might just change how you see your own busy world. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so before we start breaking this down and getting all analytical, I want you to just listen. Let the sounds of the original Sino-Korean kind of wash over you. Don't even think about what it means yet. Just feel the vibe, the rhythm of it. Ready? It goes like this. Weilbe Hansongga, Pan Gangpotu, Emyeong Nehugo, Yushin Il-sagu. There's this beautiful, almost haunting stillness to it, right? You can just feel it.
So you've got this lonely night, a quiet shore, and this one bird. And it's amazing, right? How just a few words can paint such a vivid picture. But this isn't just a pretty scene. It's asking a question, a really big one that's maybe even more important now than it was 1,000 years ago. In our world, a world of constant notifications and, let's be honest, pretty conditional friendships, where do you find real peace? Where do you find loyalty that actually sticks around? That's the mystery we're going to solve together.
All right, painting with moonlight and pines. To really get what this poem is saying, we first have to see what the poet saw. He's literally painting a picture with words, so let's look at his brushstrokes, one by one.
Okay, here's our first line. Now, I know at first glance it might look a little intense, but it's actually just 4 simple ideas that come together to create one really powerful image. We're going to take it apart, piece by piece. It's easier than you think.
First up, we have this character. Ski. It's pronounced wol. And it just means the moon. Simple as that. It's the light source, the quiet witness to everything that's about to happen.
Next is this one, Han, pronounced Han. And this is where things get really interesting. See, Han means cold, but it's not just talking about the weather, that crisp night air. This is a cold that's on the inside. It's the emotional chill of being alone, of being an outcast. It's that kind of loneliness you can feel deep in your bones.
Then we have mats, or song. This means pine tree. And in Korean culture, pine trees are a huge deal. They're all about resilience, about standing strong and true no matter how cold and harsh things get.
And to finish off the line, we have ya, pronounced ya. It means night. You know, that time when everything gets quiet and you can finally hear yourself think. It's the perfect setting for some deep reflection.
So, let's put it all together. Wo, back, Han, song. Ya. Wall back, Han, song, ya. It translates to, the moon is bright on a cold pine night. And bam, just like that, we're there. We're at the famous Hansongjeong Pavilion. Can't you just feel it? That sharp, cold air, the bright moonlight hitting those strong pine trees? It's beautiful, but yeah, it's also pretty lonely.
Okay, on to the second line. Payan Gyeongpo Chu. This one tells us that the waves at a place called Gyeongpo are calm, like glass, and that it's autumn. So the scene gets even deeper, right? Everything outside is totally still, completely at peace. And that's the key, because it's the total opposite of what the poet is feeling on the inside. All that external calm just makes his inner turmoil feel even louder.
All right, the cry of a faithful friend. So we've got the scene locked in. Cold night, peaceful water, inner chaos. But now, someone or something shows up, and it's not who you'd expect.
Here we go. The third line. Amyeong Neogo. This is where the poem suddenly gets sound and movement. Everything was still before, but now things are happening. This is where the story really takes a turn. It starts with this character, I, pronounced I. It means sorrowful or sad. So the poet hears this bird's call and thinks it sounds sad. But here's the thing, and this is so important. It's a projection. You know how when you're feeling down, a sad song on the radio feels like it was written just for you? That's what's happening here. He's so lonely and feels so abandoned that he hears his own sadness in the bird's voice. It's actually a really beautiful human thing to do.
So the whole line, Amyeong Neugo, means crying sadly, it comes and goes. And I want you to notice that rhythm. It comes and it goes. This isn't a one-time thing. This bird isn't just passing through. It's a regular. It's a constant, steady presence in his otherwise empty life.
And that leads us to the final line, the big reveal. The whole poem, all 19 characters so far, have been setting the stage for this one final idea, and it changes the meaning of everything we've just read.
Okay, the whole thing hinges on these two characters, Yo-sin, pronounced Yu-shin. This means having faith, being loyal, being someone you can trust. The poet suddenly realizes he's not just looking at some random bird. He's watching loyalty in its purest form. This seagull isn't just an animal, it's a teacher.
So, nature's loyalty, human folly. Now that we've got all the pieces on the table, the poem's real message starts to click into place. See, this was never just a pretty nature poem. It's a really deep thought about where you find true loyalty when the world seems full of fakes.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the world of humans. This poet, his name was Jang Yeon-u. He used to be a big shot, a powerful official, and you can bet he had a ton of friends back then. But the second he lost his power and was exiled, poof, they were gone. Their loyalty came with strings attached. But the seagull? What does a seagull care if he's a government official or a nobody? It has zero agenda. It just shows up, day in, day out. That's real companionship, the kind that doesn't ask for anything back.
Now, to really get how deep this goes, we have to understand that word sin, shin. For us, trust is just a word, but in the poet's time, this was a massive deal. It was a core Confucian value, part of this code of ethics called the 5 relationships. And one of the most important was bung u yu sin, which basically means friends must be trustworthy. So when the poet says the seagull has sin, he's making a pretty shocking statement. He's saying this little bird is a better, more virtuous friend than all the powerful humans who turn their backs on him. That's a serious burn.
Okay, wisdom to carry with you. So, what are we supposed to do with this story about a lonely poet and a bird from 1,000 years ago? Why does it still hit so hard today? Well, it's because of the wisdom here about how to live a good, happy life. It never gets old. So here's what the seagull can teach us. First, don't be afraid of a little quiet. It was only when things got quiet that the poet could hear the truth. You need that space to figure out what's real. Second, look for loyalty, not likes. The poem is telling us to find and hold on to those few people, or pets, or even places that are always there for you, no matter what. Third, when people let you down, go outside. Seriously, there's a kind of honesty in nature that can totally reset your brain. And finally, be grateful for the small, constant things. The poet had lost everything, but he found real joy in the simple, faithful presence of one bird.
And that really just leaves us with one last question to think about. In the absolute chaos of our modern lives, with all the noise and the pressure, it's worth stopping to ask yourself, who or what is your faithful seagull? What's that one simple, constant, and totally true thing in your life that brings you peace and reminds you of what's actually important? Because if you can find that, well, that's a kind of wisdom that'll last you a lifetime.